I'd like to call the Tuesday, February 6, 2024 Papillion City Council meeting to order. Ms. Brown, would you please take the roll?
Sunday. Here. Mumgard. Here. Gaines. Here. Glover. Here. Fanslau. Here. Klug. Here. Stubbe. Here. Engberg. Here.
Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And do we have an affidavit of publication on file?
We do.
And a current copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted in the back of the council chambers. Got a special presentation tonight. I'd like to invite Chief Whitted up. Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. City Council, thank you. If I have a big grin on my face, it's because for the first time since June of 2023, we had our first staff meeting today that had a full command staff. So that is something we're celebrating. I do want to take a quick second and thank Lieutenant Prazen and Deputy Chief Orchard, who hung together with me, being down 2 lieutenants, but we pushed through, and I thank them for their service, as well as some of the other officers and sergeants that had to take some additional duties following Lieutenant Higgins' death and Chris Goley retiring. So anyway, it's a privilege to be here before you tonight and to introduce you our 2 newest lieutenants for the Papillion Police Department. I'm incredibly pleased with both these individuals. They are men of honor, men of integrity. They are true servant leaders, and they will serve us very, very well. And I'm going to take a few minutes and read their bios. They didn't want me to do one that's too long, but these are important positions, and I think it's valuable that you know what kind of personnel you have leading the department. So I'm pretty proud to start. I'll start with Lieutenant Preston Moss. Lieutenant Preston Moss' career with the City of Papillion has been characterized by effective leadership, positive relationships, high performance, community impact, and professionalism. Preston joined the PPD in June 2004 and has more than 8 years' experience as a sergeant, supervising more than half of our current officers, many of whom have earned multiple awards for outstanding performance and excelled in specialty assignments. Prior to being promoted to sergeant, Lieutenant Moss served as a patrol officer and narcotics detective. In addition to his primary duties, Preston continually demonstrated initiative and commitment to our city with multiple collateral duties, including serving as a firearms instructor, a less lethal munitions instructor, and field training officer. Lieutenant Moss served on the South Metro SWAT team for more than 10 years, including 4 as our department's first tactical team leader. He is a Nebraska Law Enforcement Academy certified instructor and has supervised our department's firearm training program since 2015. Preston also served as our K-9 unit supervisor from 2015 to 2022. He also represented our department on the SDLA Firearms Training and Certification Working Group, and he participated in the Chief's Use of Force and Training Task Force in 2020 and 2021. Preston has participated and leads officers in multiple high-risk, complicated police operations with SWAT, narcotics investigation, and as a patrol supervisor. He earned multiple awards and recognition for serving with distinction, including a Medal of Valor for his actions in response to an active killer incident in 2020, FOP Papillion Lodge number 19 Officer of the Year, along with other members of C-Shift for their response to the same active killer incident, 2022 Mothers Against Drunk Driving Hero Award for Team MIP Enforcement, along with other members of C-Shift, commendations for the pursuit and capture of armed robbery suspects in 2019, and for response to a homicide incident that occurred this past summer. Certificate of Merit in 2019 for his service to the South Metro SWAT team, 2013 Crime Stopper of the Year from Papillion by the Sarpy County Crime Stoppers Association, and the 2008 Papillion Optimist Officer of the Year by the Papillion La Vista Optimist Club. Lieutenant Moss earned a Bachelor of Science in Finance with a major in German from Iowa State University, while on a Marine Corps ROTC scholarship. He graduated from the Marine Corps Officer Candidate School in Quantico, Virginia in 1998. Preston also worked for an investment firm in Omaha before starting his law enforcement career. Lieutenant Moss has volunteered as a coach for youth soccer and archery programs, is active in his church, and is a member of multiple conservation organizations. He is joined tonight by his wife Marjorie, children Eli and Rebecca, and parents Stuart and Marion Moss. Next, I want to introduce Jason Sharp. On the side. Jason is coming to us from Beatrice, Nebraska, where he has served as a sergeant with the Gage County Sheriff's Office. Alongside his enlistment in the Nebraska Army National Guard, Jason began his law enforcement career in January of 2002, where he served as a police officer with both the Blair and Lexington police departments. After accepting a full-time position with the Nebraska Army National Guard in 2006, Jason served as a leadership instructor, company training sergeant, operations sergeant, and intelligence sergeant, all while still maintaining his law enforcement certification, working part-time as a law enforcement officer. Jason started his 15-year tenure with the Gage County Sheriff's Office in June of 2009, where he volunteered as a reserve part-time deputy sheriff while still serving full-time in the Nebraska National Guard until 2012. At this point, he was promoted to a full-time deputy sheriff and road patrol sergeant, performing several key duties at the sheriff's office. In addition to gaining 7 years' experience as a sergeant, Jason coordinated the recruiting and hiring process, served as the field training coordinator, agency training coordinator, firearms instructor, patrol rifle instructor, defensive tactics instructor, evidence custodian, and assistant team leader for the Gage County Special Operations Group. In addition to his law enforcement experience, Jason has an accomplished 26-plus year career in the Army National Guard in both military police and military intelligence career fields. He currently serves as the Command Sergeant Major for the 402nd Military Police Battalion located in Omaha. And I can tell you, as a former battalion commander, that individual is your right-hand person that gets you through a lot of things. So it's a really important position. He has been on multiple deployments to include 5 overseas tours and 3 stateside active duty assignments, as well as 8 different information sharing events in the Czech Republic, where he helped share best practices on biometrics, military planning, military intelligence, and crowd and riot control with the Czech Armed Forces. Jason is a graduate of the United States Army Sergeants Majors Academy, as well as Northwestern University's Center for Public Safety's Police Staff and Command School. He will also graduate from Southern New Hampshire University this spring with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, with an emphasis on police operations and administration. Jason is married to his wife, Leslie, a labor and delivery nurse in Lincoln, and together they have 4 children, twins who are seniors at Papillion La Vista High School, and 2 children currently attending Beatrice schools, 5th and 8th graders. Jason and his family are looking forward to moving to Papillion after the school year. So it is with great pleasure that I'd like to introduce Lieutenant Preston Moss and Lieutenant Jason Sharp. I want to thank all the officers for coming and showing you guys a lot of support. It is a tight-knit family, and I'm incredibly blessed to be the chief of this department and have such great people to work with, and you guys will have as well. Do you want to introduce your family members?
Yes, thank you. My wife Marjorie, my son Elijah, my daughter Rebecca, and that's my mom Marion Moss. My dad Stuart wasn't able to come tonight.
Great, thank you. How about you, Jason?
My wife Leslie, the youngest Briggs, my dad Pete, my stepdad Larry, my mom Debbie, and my other stepson Charlie. And then my kids, one of them's sick and the other one couldn't make it, my seniors.
You're very busy. They're very busy. I understand. Thank you. Do you guys want to say anything at all? You do not have to. But
I'd like to say the oath of office.
Mayor, they're all yours.
Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I,
Jason
Preston
Sharp,
Moss,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Nebraska
and the Constitution of the State of Nebraska
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I
that I take this obligation freely
and without mental reservation
and without mental reservation
or for purpose of evasion,
or for purpose of evasion,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
perform the duties of police lieutenant
perform the duties of police lieutenant
according to law and to the best of my ability.
according to law and the best of my ability,
And I do further swear
and I do further swear
that I do not advocate,
that I do not advocate,
nor am I a member of,
nor am I a member of,
any political party or organization
any
any political party or organization
that advocates the overthrow
that advocates the overthrow
of the government of the United States
of the government of the United States
or of this state
or of this state
by force or violence,
by force or violence,
and that during such time
and that during such time
as I am in this position,
that I am in this position,
I will not advocate
I will not advocate
nor become a member of
nor become a member of
any political party or organization
any political party or organization
that advocates the overthrow
that advocates the overthrow
of the government of the United States
of the government of the United States
or of this state
or of this state
by force or violence,
by force or
so
violence.
help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll use your blue pen there, Mayor. Thanks. Thank you.
We'll now have the pinning of the badges and the ring. Preston has some badges, he's already a part of this. Jason is not, so keeping with tradition, we'll also get his badge since he's new to our organization.
Congratulations, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Ms. Powers, Administrator's Report, please.
Thank you. Congratulations, Lieutenants Moss and Sharp. I look forward to working with you guys in your new roles. And keeping with the police department, I just want to congratulate all of the police department employees and the one citizen who were recognized this past Sunday during the police department's 9th annual award ceremony. In total, 23 employees were recognized for their accomplishments from the past year, which is absolutely incredible. Thank you, everyone. The highest award presented was the Police Star, which was presented to Eric Christensen, Jerry Prazen, and Patrick Quintana for their response to a domestic homicide that occurred in August of 2023. The Officer of the Year was awarded to Patrick Quintana, and the Civilian Employee of the Year was awarded to Allie Hansen. And then a special Medal of Appreciation was awarded to Anthony Weiss for actions related to keeping an autistic child from running into traffic. Anthony is an Omaha resident who works at the Sarpy County Justice Center, and when you hear that story, it's just chilling. So thank you, everyone. Again, congrats. We are fortunate to have highly talented people working for or protecting us every day, high professionals, just incredible. And then thank you to the Papillion Mayor's Youth Leadership Council for hosting a Black History Month celebration on February 3rd. There was a strong community showing, and it was a great celebration. And then just quickly, just a reminder, tomorrow is day 24 of the 60-day legislative session, short session this year, and I know we've talked about that several times, but just so you guys are aware, United Cities, Mayor Black, city staff, we're all keeping our eyes out and sending some letters of support, some letters of opposition to several bills. But if there's anything you guys see or have questions on or something that you think we should be supporting or monitoring or opposing, let us know. Hopefully it's already on our list, but just in case, we're almost halfway through the session. And then just a quick reminder that City Hall and offices will be closed on Monday, February 19th in observation of President's Day. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion by Councilman Ingberg, second by Councilman Gaines. Any proponents or opponents? Council discussion? Please vote.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Next is item D1, ordinance 2019, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 23-24 budget. Is there a council member who will introduce? Introduced by Councilman Glover. Item F1, Resolution R240014. It's a public hearing and a vote. A resolution to approve a Class I liquor license for Miyake Sushi House Grill LLC, doing business as Miyake Sushi House, 8419 South 73rd Street, Plaza 105, and a manager application for Gary Ching. It's a public hearing. I'll open it. Do we have any proponents? Is the applicant here? Thank you. Do we have any proponents or any opponents? I'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion to approve Resolution R240014? Motion by Councilman Stubbe. Second by Councilman Fanslow. Council discussion. I would like to ask the applicant to come up. If you just want to share a little bit about the sushi house. We don't have a long agenda, so a little bit of a commercial. Share your name and address for the record, and then just tell us a little bit about the restaurant.
My name is Gary Chung, and I live in 531 South 18th Street in Lincoln, Nebraska. So for the sushi house, we mainly sell sushi. We also sell ramens, so mostly Japanese cuisine. And then we also want to sell some alcohol, including alcohol from America and from Asia. And then we're hoping to get a license so that we can continue serving our customer better.
Wonderful.
That should be all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Sunday.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you have other restaurants in other cities?
I don't.
No. Is this your first one?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any council discussion? Please vote.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Thank you and welcome. F2, Resolution R240015, a resolution to approve applications for the 2024 summer fireworks season, June 25th to July 4th. There's a motion to approve Resolution R240015. Motion by Councilman Ingberg, second by Councilwoman Klug. Any proponents or opponents? Council discussion? Please vote.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. And if you are an applicant, we just handled all of the applications with that one vote, in case you're wondering and trying to wait around. Item F3, Resolution R240016, a resolution to approve a license agreement with Harry Bossert, American Legion Post 32, regarding the Legion's proposed temporary and limited use of an adjacent small parcel of city park property. So motion to approve Resolution R240016. Motion by Councilman Sunday, second by Councilman Glover. Any proponents or opponents? I will note that the Legion representative is here. Any council discussion? Please vote.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. F4, Resolution R240024, a resolution to approve a cable franchise agreement with Great Plains Communications. Is there a motion to approve Resolution R240024? Motion by Councilman Stubbe. Second by Councilman Glover. Any proponents or opponents? Council discussion? Mr.
Is there a representative here from?
Is there a Great Plains representative? You have a question for him? If you want to go ahead and come up. Thank you. And if you'd state your name and address for the record.
Yeah. Justin Sir, representing Great Plains Communications out of Blair, Nebraska.
My question is, if this is approved, when do you plan on beginning work on the fiber optics lines?
Yes. So we have formally submitted permits with the city through Mr. Kleffner, and once those are approved, hopefully tomorrow after this motion is approved, we will start construction in the next week or two.
Okay, and what are your anticipated annual revenues that you?
That's a very subjective goal.
You must have come up with some projection to
Yeah.
even come to us and ask us. So
Correct. Well, we've actually been in the city since 2014 through kind of a separate license. So kind of, as far as the projected revenue associated with this franchise agreement, this just allows us now to close in our gaps and start building out the residential pieces around the city of Papillion.
so you're not You haven't offered cable service in Papillion up to now, have you? Is that,
So we currently have apartment complexes, and we have some greenfield subdivisions that we built into, as well as numerous commercial entities around the city.
okay, so my next question has to do with the process you guys are going to have in place if this is passed to expeditiously handle citizen complaints of
Absolutely.
damage
Yep.
from the process of
Yep.
installing.
Obviously, we just saw,
Yeah.
the Channel 7 news. So yes, our contractors, what they do, AEG, Atlantic Engineering Group, they're our engineering and construction firm. They have door hangers. We've supplied them with more door hangers as well. So they'll go around to each house, hang that on the door. That gives them the direct line to AEG to provide, information on when they're going to be there, kind of what the build process is. We have that kind of through our website as well, just multiple touch points. So yeah, that's kind of our piece. Plus, they also have field engineers and project managers on site. So as any questions arise, they'll be out and taking care of those issues.
So are you going to be tripping over the Allo people that are still busy here?
Potentially, we do that in a lot of places. We cover, we're a very large regional company. We've been around for 113 years, so this is not anything new to us. But yeah, we go against numerous competitors throughout our footprint.
So what I'd like to ask is if the process, if you get started before Allo's done,
Yeah.
would you two companies coordinate so that we don't tear up somebody's yard twice to install the line?
Yeah, just with different contractors and contracts and different kind of technologies of approach, right, materials and whatnot. We have been asked from different cities. We just never been able to coordinate at the same time, the same area, at the exact same time. So
So you're telling me that we could expect
two different people coming
different-
through at two different times, yes.
and tearing up the yard twice?
Tearing up and restoring to exactly the way it was, yes.
What city or cities have you recently opened up cable service?
So this is fiber services, so broadband, high-speed internet.
Is there a community like ours somewhere in the area that?
Yeah, absolutely. Ralston,
Okay.
we're just on our final, we're 90% through in Ralston. Actually talked to the city yesterday, and they are over the moon of how kind of our process went, how we handled those issues. We just got approved through the city of Gretna about 10 minutes ago. So we have that franchise agreement in place as well. And we have obviously 96 communities throughout just the state of Nebraska as well that we've done this in.
So what community in the area has service but only recently?
Blair Valley, we overbuilt Blair and Valley about 2.5 years ago. So that,
Okay.
kind of more recent of
Yeah.
this area, right?
Okay, so if we wanted to talk to those cities
Absolutely.
about their experience,
Yes.
those would
Yep.
be somebody we'd want to talk
Yep,
to.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do have a quick question. Obviously, residents are excited about competition, but they're also highly frustrated about the installment process with it all going on right now. Because we will get questions of who is this coming in, and Great Plains has been around a long time, but like you said, it's usually been to the business providers, so general residents aren't familiar with Great Plains. Can you just tell us a little bit about the company and the history? Because I believe it's a Nebraska-based company.
It is,
Which I think
yes.
is important. If you can share a little bit about the company history.
Yeah, absolutely. We're 113 years old, right? We started in Creighton, Nebraska as just a little phone company, right? Throughout kind of the century mark, we've grown into 96 different communities, kind of organically and through acquiring other communications companies. So we have everywhere from eastern Nebraska to western Nebraska to the Panhandle to southeastern Nebraska. We have a very robust network. We actually have fiber in Indiana as well. So we're kind of, and over in Kentucky. But yeah, we've got 18,500 miles of fiber throughout our network. We haul companies from Denver to Chicago to Minneapolis to Kansas City, St. Louis, so kind of this aggregation point, right, with, you figure I-80, right, kind of that piece. So we bring in other partners as far as, higher dollar commercial industries and can connect them out to the world. So that's kind of what we provide, and obviously then now focusing on your residents to do so is what we're looking to do.
Appreciate it. Any other council discussion or questions? If not, please vote.
I
Yes, Mr. Sunday.
have a motion. I would move that we table this issue for tonight to another evening, for some reasons that I think the timing of this, we need to at least discuss this in more depth. We need public input on this, and we need a chance to contact city leaders in some of these other communities that have already had the experience with this particular company. And because this was just, this didn't go through the process. This is the first any of us have really seen this. And I just fear, I don't fear. I think that we should discuss this in depth before we approve it, because we already have aloe right now in our community installing. And it's a potential problem, I think. And I think we should at least talk it through.
So we have a motion to table. Is the table due a date certain, Mr. Sunday? Would that be to the next meeting?
I would actually propose that we table it and I guess send it to a committee
Okay.
for further
So
discussion.
we have a motion to table to send to a committee. Is there a second? I'll second. Second by Councilman Gaines. Council discussion, Mr. Mumgard.
And I'm going to vote for the motion. I've got nothing against the competition. It sounds great. I'm pleased, as a longtime Cox subscriber, I'm very pleased that Aloe's coming in with competition. I've seen Verizon come in with competition. You coming in with competition too, I can say as a subscriber, I can say, okay, this will be great. On the other hand, we just have gone through and we haven't finished the chaos, acrimony, the public comments, and the comments that we get from constituents about the problems they've seen when the aloe company is coming through. So stepping back and thinking about it, getting the balance between the competition we can provide to subscribers and the inevitable impact on homeowners would be a good idea. Let's think about it a little bit more.
Mr. Gaines.
So I just had what kind of impact would any kind of delay in approval have on your company?
Yeah, we've been gearing up with this for about a year now, and our legal obviously has worked together on an agreement, which now put forth right into the city council approval. The impact would be heavy on us because obviously we're looking at this as an opportunity to build out, into another community of ours throughout the state of Nebraska that we've worked with on partnering for almost 10 years now. So yeah, it would delay our side of things, and then also the customers piece as well for the city for competition.
Will have a financial impact on you if it was 6 weeks? Just as an example.
Yeah, 6 weeks would be, we are here representing Great Plains right now because, we do have a franchise agreement. We've got the city attorney's sign off. We've worked with Kleffner and Sturzma and Nicole Brown on permits, having everything in place. We've been good stewards in the city for almost a decade now. We really haven't had any issues with any complaints, as opposed to now our competitor delaying our side. I'm not seeing where that's apples to apples.
Okay, and since this is council discussion, I'm struggling to handle this process differently than we handled aloe, because I don't remember aloe going through committees and I'm kind of agree with your point that we are having a minimal struggle with Allo, but I don't think that their problems then cross over to your company. So I think I'm gonna vote against tabling it and move to try to approve it tonight, because I don't think that it's fair. And even if we did table it and we put extra restrictions on you that we didn't put on Allo, I think that's unfair. So that's where I stand on it.
Mr. Ingberg.
Well, I'm one not to be, I don't want to add a lot of bureaucratic red tape to your process, because quite honestly, it's not your fault. This is the first we've really heard about it. I do agree with Councilman Sunday, though, that we need to have some discussion about it. So I guess I would propose, unlike Councilman Gaines as well, I don't want you to be held to a different standards than another company like Allo. So I guess what I would suggest, so it has minimum impact, and I don't know if Mr. Sunday would agree to this, but instead of just tabling it for a date uncertain, let's fast track it to be more fair, and let's have a committee look at it, let's say prior to the next council meeting. That's a 2-week delay. And then that same night, if Mr. Sunday's comfortable with it, after the committee asks their questions and feels more comfortable, have it on the council agenda the same night. That way there's only a 2-week delay, and perhaps Mr. Sunday and others would be more comfortable, and won't be a huge impact on you, rather than delay it indefinitely.
So is that a motion to amend to add the date certain?
Well,
If it's a friendly amendment, I generally accept what he's
Okay.
saying. I want to make sure that we're going to give the public a chance to be heard at this next meeting
So,
on this issue.
Mr. Mumgard, you gave the second. Are you okay with that? To add the, oh, Mr. Gaines did the second. Are you okay with that? Okay. Any other discussion? Mr. Fanslow? Okay, so the motion is to table to a date certain, which is the next council, and prior to that, send it to a committee. Is that your motion? It is. Okay. Any other discussion? Please vote on the motion to table.
Four yeas, 4 nays by Klug, Stube, Gaines, and Glover.
So we're back to the original motion. Any other council discussion? Pardon? Oh, the original motion. No, the application. Any other discussion? Oh, motion failed. Any other discussion on the original motion? Please vote.
Seven yeas, 1 nay by Sunday.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
So all the regular agenda items, committee reports. The Golf Ad Hoc Committee met tonight. I believe Mr. Fanslow is the chair.
Yep, that's 2 committee meetings in a row and 2 chair positions in a row. So thanks to my colleagues. So, yeah. So it had been a while since the Golf Ad Hoc Committee got together. So the things that we talked about generally, and I'll run them down, then I'll get into some detail on a little bit of detail on each. We talked about a capital improvements program plan for the years 24 through 2029. We talked about proposed rate increases. We talked about part of the capital conversation was maybe an improvement at the Eagle Hills Eagle Hills Golf Course driving range, and what that might look like. I'll come back to that. We talked about some equipment purchases, and we talked about staffing. So the committee gave approval unanimously to the golf employees to move forward with their 2024 through 2029 capital improvements plan. We talked about, and specifically we talked about, before we gave that direction, we talked about the golf paths at Terra and the phasing plan there. Everybody seemed to be pretty comfortable with that. I was particularly concerned, or not concerned, but I had questions about the ponds at Eagle Hills. I know some people who've wound up in those ponds, so some of it for me was safety and what improvements were going to be made, and I was satisfied with that. We specifically talked about other equipment purchases that are going to, like I said, happen in the time frame that staff laid out for us. Proposed rate increases, there's a slight increase in all of the fees, $1 to $2 each. It was noted that our 18-hole golf courses are still the cheapest in the metro area. So I believe, and we voted that we're all good with the proposed rate increases. I talked about the driving range improvements at Eagle Hills. That would be probably 4 or 5 bays of inside driving range type facility. You'd still hit the ball out into the driving range, but it's a 12-month operation, which, given the right partnership and financial structure, could prove very beneficial because it could be used 12 months out of the year. So we asked that they continue to look at that. Staffing, we've been asked to consider hiring one full-time staff member for food and beverage. We have one person handling both facilities. It's pretty overwhelming for that one person, plus other staff has to kick in and help out where they might necessarily not have to. So we voted to have the plan approved and to for staff to continue to look at those few improvements I talked about, the driving range at Eagle Hills and other things. So it was a good meeting.
Appreciate the work of the Golf Ad Hoc Committee too. I think once we put that in place a number of years ago, the golf operation has dramatically improved. I think the management there feels the support. Council has a strong understanding of it, and the capital improvement plan's been going well the last few years. So appreciate the council members that are golfers and understand the business side of it and providing the oversight. So
I'd add one thing. We had kind of a sidebar conversation after we were done the agenda. And, you know, we're a city of our size to have 2 18-hole golf courses, and the quality of those golf courses, we're very fortunate to have those courses, not only for the residents who live here, but for all the leagues, all the tournaments, the partnerships that we have with some of the area community colleges. We're very fortunate to have those 2 golf courses in our community.
And we're fortunate with Rob and the personnel we have as well. So thank you to the council members. Mr. Sunday.
Self-sustaining golf courses. Right? They're not costing the taxpayers.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of what I was hinting at with the oversight of the council. I think that's been very important. So thank you for that. There has not been a property tax subsidy of the golf course for probably 10 or 11 years. So thank you very much for that. I think that's all. I think that's the only committee that met. Any comments from the floor? Council comments? Ms. Klug.
Thank you. I just wanted to make a comment. Councilman Mumgard and I both showed up at the Black History Month celebration that our youth put on, and talk about a quality program put on by our youth under the leadership of Officer Tackett. It was organized, the food was great, they had a program, you could tell they had thought it out, laid it out appropriately, and it was informative, it was fun. I'm sure I was at the noisiest table again. Yeah, they're shaking their heads, yeah. So it's just really an eye-opener to hear some of the speakers and what they were talking about. So thank you to the Mayor's Youth Council for doing that for a second year, and I encourage everybody, if you get a chance to go, it is a lot of fun.
Thank you very much. Any other council comments? Last couple of weeks, the Gross Sarpy, which is the Economic Development Corporation, has a new executive director, Lisa Sheevy, so we met with her. She's been with the Omaha Chamber for quite a while, so she's not new to the metro area, and she knows Sarpy, so if you see Lisa, congratulate her on the executive director. Ms. Powers mentioned that United Cities have been meeting on a regular basis now that the legislature's in session. So again, just the normal reminder that she gave, if there's an item, a bill of high interest for you, let us know, because we can be actively monitoring those and trying to keep you updated. But it's fast moving down there so it's hard to keep up a little bit. Mr. Sturzman and I went to Columbus. Congressman Flood had a workforce housing summit, brought some of the folks from DC, some of the departments in DC that work with housing, and brought them down, and we attended that summit, and that was a very good summit. So again, the Council, you approved the Affordable Housing Action Plan with some specific action items, and that kind of came under that, so we'll have more to share about that. Jay Smokehouse had its ribbon cutting at the Legion. It's nice to have that in town, and if people aren't familiar with Jay Smokehouse, they actually get some of the best of Omaha awards, and it is a Papillion resident with that business, and it was expanded at the Legion. So Legion is here. Again, I just want to thank you for the partnership that you've got with local restaurants. It's a pretty nice thing to have that. And then for those that are following the Vietnam Memorial, the helicopter did move from the Council Bluffs Airport to the Sumter Amphitheater site, so that is now here. It's in the parking lot. It'll have a structure put over it. It's got to have a little bit of work done to it to get the base structure for where it's going to be mounted, and with winter they're going to build a little bit of a temporary structure to keep that heated. So if you get questions of what that house is in the middle of the parking lot, it's covering the helicopter. And it's just a good reminder, June 6th is the scheduled ribbon cutting for that. It'll be at 11 o'clock. And then AEF Academy on Portal had its ribbon cutting, and so a number of us attended that. And then Ms. Powers mentioned the police annual awards ceremony, so we just want to thank all the officers for that. The reminder, there is a public safety committee meeting before the next council meeting, an update from some of the items on the last one. Any other council discussion? If not, is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by Councilman Glover. Second by Councilman Gaines. Please vote.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
We are adjourned.